Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. And as you know, welcome to my 1,439 subscribers. I think that's what I read this morning. Thanks for joining us on this journey of life. The joy is truly in the journey, not in the destination. I know that's an old saying, but there is so much truth to it. Now, when I was younger, I never thought of it that way, but truly it is. Because when you look back, the greatest memories you have are not really when you achieved the goal. It's in the people you met, the relationships you formed, the experiences you had, both good and bad. But of course, that's all relative to what you view as good and bad. What you view as good, someone else may think is bad. And what you view as bad, someone else may think is good. But that's a whole nother topic and a whole nother video. Today's topic is going to be, but before we begin, like and subscribe. And I will tell you what the topic is. No, I'll tell you now. The topic is, do your best for you. And we will get to it right after this. You have to be strong enough to endure these things. You have to approach women. With today's social media, she's constantly being hit on. Women are always in the game. You have to stay focused. We are men. That's what we do. Yes, always do your best. But before we begin, like and subscribe. Just reach up there and click that little thumbs up button. If you don't do it now, you'll forget, because I forget all the time, even though I like many videos. But now I've made a habit of doing that if I like the video. But you're going to like this. I know this will help you. Also, check out my books on Amazon, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power Is Within. And if you're watching this on Instagram, you can check me out on YouTube at Mark Daniels, Mark's Inspiration. And if you're watching it on YouTube, you can check me out at Instagram at Mark's Inspiration. And if you would like to get my help personally, you can check out my website at marksinspiration.com. I offer personal consulting services there. Now we will begin with do your best for you. Now, what do I mean by that? We usually think of when we're doing our best for someone or something that we're doing it for someone else, but not in reality, because as you know, if you do something for someone else, it's the same as doing it for you. If you have someone working on your car, don't you want them to do their best? And you hope their best is really good, right? Like excellence. So why would you not do that for other people? For your boss, for your client, for your family, for your friends? Because of course you want people to do their best for you. So what do I tell you guys? What you put out there comes back. Whatever you do to or for someone comes back to you multiplied. So if you do your best for others, guess what? People will do more than their best for you. It will come back to you multiplied. Now that's one reason. And if that isn't a powerful enough reason for you, here's another one. I just forgot it. The other one is this. I remember. The other one is this. At the end of the day, you feel good about yourself. In contrast, if you don't do your best, let's say you're doing a job during the day and you're like, you know you can do better, but you just want to get it done, so you just do it half-assed. That will bother you. The feeling you have at the end of the day will not be as good, no comparison, to if you did your best, even if it wasn't perfect. Now, we can get into that perfectionism, and then no matter what you do or how hard you try, you will not be satisfied. And at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you will feel unfulfilled. And that's what men want, is fulfillment. I'm not too sure about happiness. Happiness to me is fleeting, but fulfillment is something that lasts. I can look over my wall here, which I have a lot of photos on, of things that I've accomplished in the past. But it's not so much the accomplishment. I think about the memories, the journey to those accomplishments. The wonderful memories I have of the small successes, the failures, the disillusionments, the discouragements, the joy, the feeling of succeeding on a daily basis. These all make a wellspring, that's what I want to say, of wonderful memories, of a life well lived. A life well lived is not without failures. It's not without successes. It's a mixture of them all. It's a hodgepodge of everything. That's what you can look back on your life, and you can bask in that, bask in it. And it's a feeling that I've done a lot of drugs in my younger years and drank. It's a feeling that I never got from any drug or alcohol that I did. I don't do that anymore. I quit about 30 years ago, but it was fun. I just kind of drank and drugged the fun out of it. But that too is another video. But that's what makes your life great. Okay, if you worked at a place for 40 years and you retired and you were looking forward just to retirement and just putting your 40 years in, you weren't living your life during that time. But now the contrast to that, I met a man about a year ago. He's an older gentleman, about 80, him and his wife. And he worked at a place, I think McDonnell Douglas, because my father worked there. He worked there for like 40 years, but you could tell he liked it. And he looked back on his work and he thought about the memories. So I would guess he probably made good friends there, and you could tell he actually looked forward to going into work when he did work. So that's different. He's retired now and he's still living his life to the full. But he lived his life to the full while he was working. You could tell he wasn't a man who just looked forward to retirement. Myself, I don't think about retiring. What am I going to retire from? Life? This is my life. And whatever you're doing, that is your life. And if you hate it, find a way to like it, or find something else to do. Because this is eternity, the very moment. If eternity is forever, this is just a little piece of forever, this present moment. And when you look back on the eternity of your life, don't you want to look back and think, man, what an adventure. That's the way I look at it. And the adventure is not over. I've had a wonderful life. Now, when I was going through some of those hard times, like when I was out of the country because they were going to arrest me here for false accusations, it didn't seem too exciting. But looking back, it was a hell of an adventure. And then I had to come out of that other country, and I had to pay the border guards off in Mexico because they wouldn't let me across because my ex-wife didn't want me to leave the country, so she put out an arrigo or something it's called. So I wasn't allowed to leave the country. My attorney told me I could go to the border and the border guards would accommodate me and let me across, which they did if I was willing to pay them, which I did. So, and I could tell you the whole story about that, but you need to get the book. It's on Amazon. The point is, it takes all of that. And I also left my 6 kids not knowing whether I would ever see them again. But now, today, I have all my kids. And they've been with me for 12 years. No more problems with the ex-wife. She stayed in her country. So it's like everything worked out, and it does. But it has a lot to do with your perception, how you look at life. Do you believe that these things, these difficult, these discouraging, these disappointing times that you're going through are working for your good? Because they are, if you believe they are. And I know it doesn't make you feel good in the moment, but it gives you enough hope, enough courage, enough strength to press on and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And at the end of that, when you come out of the darkness, you will see that you have, my dog's coughing. You will see that you have learned valuable life lessons that will move you on or propel you to the next level towards your goals or your dreams. That is, if you have goals or dreams, you need to be setting off in a direction. If you're not setting off in a direction, where are you going? And if you get there, how will you know that you're there? Because you have no destination. You have no direction. You need to have a goal, a dream, a vision, something bigger than yourself. This will get you through these dark times. And doing your best, no matter how bad things get, will get you through those dark times also. I've been on jobs where I won't say I was losing money, but the profit was not what I had anticipated because we had problems or issues, but we still did our best. I did my best. Even though I had to buy extra materials or do something more than than what I hadn't anticipated, I still did it because I know that will come back to me. It's a struggle when you're in that mess and you're doing your best, when it's costing you money or time or emotional turmoil, but it pays off. And maybe you're in a situation where you have a controversy or a disagreement with another party. And these people, this other party, they're being dishonest, they're being manipulative, and maybe you're involved in a system, a judicial system, and they're winning, let's say, and you're losing, but yet you're holding to your integrity. And no matter how honest or open and I want to say integrous you are, you still seem to be losing this battle, or you're not gaining ground in this situation. And you may lose whatever you're trying to achieve, even though you're right. And they may win, even though they're being dishonest, manipulative, and doing whatever they can to destroy you or to win or to take whatever it is that they're wanting to take from you. If you remain loyal to yourself and practice integrity and honesty, I'll guarantee you down the road it will pay off. And more than likely you will see these people crumble. It may take months, it may take years, but when it happens, you won't really wish it upon them. You will actually have compassion for them. But this is all back to doing your best to live your life, a life of integrity, honesty, and character. It's not easy. It is truly the road less traveled. There are no traffic jams on the extra mile. I guarantee you there's not. Now, when you do your best, that doesn't mean, as I said, you're not going to be perfect. Maybe you think you can always do something more. But if you're working for a client or your boss, if he is satisfied with your work, then he's the one that you're trying to please, but he is the one you're accountable to. And if he's satisfied with your work and you did the best you could, even though maybe you think it could have been done better, that's the main thing. Because I have clients where I do a job and I can see things that I think could be better. but we did the best we could at the time, and they're happy with it, so I have to just let that go because I want perfection. I'll give you an example. We did this, he calls it his man cave for this client. We sprayed the roof, or my employees sprayed the roof, and it was hot, and so we didn't get an even sheen on the roof. So when he came home, the one side was okay. It had one light spot, we fixed that. But when this client came home in the afternoon, we had sprayed the other side later on in the day, and it dried really fast because it was hot. So it looked uneven. Okay, the materials were on there. It was a good job, but it didn't look even. So we resprayed that. Of course, it still didn't look even to me, but he was happy with it. He thought it looked great. But I wanted to go buy more materials, and I had an idea how I thought we could spray that to where it would be the sheen would be the same on the whole roof. But what you have to remember, and I need to remember too, is it's not a controlled environment. You give me the same roof in a building with a controlled climate, I'll make it shine even. It'll be perfect like a car. But see, all day I'm thinking about how I can make that right. I almost ordered the paint to do it again, but when he came home that evening, he sent me a text and said, "Hey, it looks great, thanks, I appreciate you doing it over again." So I didn't do it again. He was pleased, satisfied. As I said, the material was on there, the coating was on there at the correct thickness. It was a good coverage, but it was just the way it dried because of the elements of the climate. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. But I still was thinking I could do something better. But the client was pleased because you can go on and on. Years ago, I used to do things 2 or 3 times when the client was happy, but I could see the imperfection. Now, perfectionism has its place, and it can cause you to do really good work, but it can also cause you to go overboard and do too much. And sometimes by trying to make something perfect, you can actually ruin a good job that you have already. So that's something you need to remember. But remember this, you know inside yourself, we all have an internal compass, a moral compass. You know when you're done whether you could have done better or whether you did your best at the time. Now that doesn't mean you couldn't come back later when you have more wisdom or after you've done a job and you could do better because you learned something from it. You should constantly be improving, but you know by how you feel inside whether you've done your best or not. So always do your best because you will feel the best about yourself when you do. And I want to reiterate, it's not for them, it's for you. You are the one that reaps the rewards from it. Take care. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.